Question number 5 in the problem set for 8.2 asks you to write equations for the following reactions. And I tried to give you mnemonics that would maybe make these easier. But you have sulfuric acid and copper oxide. Now this actually doesn't really fit any of the mnemonics I gave you, but it's just going to be a double replacement reaction because when you write sulfuric acid, you have H2SO4. Copper oxide is just going to be CuO, although they didn't indicate if it's copper 1 or 2, so I'm going to go with copper 2 since it wasn't indicated. And if I just do a double replacement reaction, I end up with CuSO4 and then H2O, and it's actually balanced as written. Part B, nitric acid, HNO3. Remember, you have to balance the hydrogen with the polyatomic ions. And then sodium hydrogen carbonate, this is actually baking soda, NaHCO3. Again, if I have a replacement, I'm going to end up with the HCO3 and then the NaNO3. So I'm going to write the NaNO3 first. And then rather than forming H2CO3, remember what really happens with the carbonate is it decomposes into H2O and CO2. So that also is balanced. Part C, phosphoric acid is H3PO4 to balance that polyatomic ion. And potassium hydroxide, so this is just a neutralization, KOH. So this is just going to be a double replacement reaction. So I'm going to get K3PO4 along with H2O. And now I am going to have to do a little balancing. I'll need 3 of the KOH and 3 of the H2O to balance that. And part D, ethanoic acid, I don't expect that you'll know this by the time you take your test. Hopefully you will in May. But at this point, if you just get resourceful and look in your booklet, you should be able to find it. Otherwise, on tests, I would be happy to give it to you because this is beyond what we've done so far. We haven't gotten to our organic unit. I'll just say it's CH2COOH. And if it's reacting with aluminum, this is just a single replacement reaction, and it's this hydrogen that's being released. So I can either write it, I can write CH2COOAL, or you see it also written with the AL in front and then parentheses around the CH2COO. Either one is fine, but that's going to be one product, and then my other is going to be the H2. So again, I'm going to need to do some balancing, and I actually end up with 6 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these, and 3 of the H2. Question number 6 wants to know an aqueous solution of which of the following reacts with calcium metal? Well, acids are the ones that react with metals. So ammonia is NH3, and that's going to tend to react to produce NH4, which does not make that an acid. That makes that a weak base. Hydrogen chloride is going to be HCl. That is an acid. And potassium hydroxide, KOH, that's basic. And sodium hydrogen carbonate, NaHCO3, that's what we call a metal carbonate. So it possibly could react with calcium metal if calcium were more reactive, but the one I know for sure will react is HCl, the acid. So B would be my correct choice for number 6. Number 7, which of the following is or are formed when a metal oxide reacts with a dilute acid? Well, we just had this reaction with number 5 with H2SO4 reacting with CuO, and we ended up with a salt and with water. And so it says a metal salt, which actually is redundant because all salts have metal in them. They're just ionic compounds. And 2, we also will get water, but there's not going to be carbon dioxide gas. That would be from a carbonate that we'd expect to see the CO2. For 7, I'm just going to expect 1 and 2 or answer B. Question number 8 asks you to suggest by name a parent acid and a parent base that could be used to make each of the following salts. Write equations for each reaction. So if I start with A, this is really far easier than it looks. This is a question that could show up on your test in May that intimidates people. And really, if you just take a deep breath, this one's pretty easy. Because bases are always a metal with the OH end. and acids are the hydrogen with the nonmetal end. So what I need to do is for my parent acid, I need to take hydrogen and combine it with the nitrate end. So that'd just be HNO3. NO3 only has a -1 charge, so I just need the one hydrogen. And then the sodium, I have to combine with the OH end. That would be the simplest one. I also could have Na2CO3. It could be sodium carbonate would allow this to happen, or sodium hydrogen carbonate would allow it to happen. But I'm going to go with I'm going to make these the easiest and combine them just with the base, the OH. So if I write a reaction for this one, and the one on my key, I believe I used the sodium carbonate, but I'll go with the simple one here. I just have HNO3 plus NaOH, and that's going to form NaNO3 and H2O with no balancing needed. So that's A. B, I think I can squeeze in here. B, ammonium chloride. I'm going to take the chloride and combine it with hydrogen for HCl. So that's my parent acid. My parent base is going to be the ammonium, NH4. That is a +1 charge, so it'll combine with just one OH. So that's my parent base. And so when they react, they would give me the ammonium chloride, the NH4Cl, plus H2O. And you notice by using the simplest possible parents here, it's making my reaction very simple. It's going to be just a neutralization reaction each time. So if I go down to C, I've got copper 2 sulfate. So my acid's going to be H2SO4. There's my parent acid. My parent base is going to be CuOH2. And when I combine them, I'm going to get CuSO4, the copper sulfate that they said, and I'm going to get H2O. And this time I'm going to have to do some balancing because I had H2SO4 in OH, so I'm going to have a 2 here. And then I believe my equation is balanced at that point. So then moving on, I've got D, I've got potassium methanoate. If you get to potassium and you don't know what methanoate is, you probably could find it in your data booklet, or just ask me, because the worst thing that'll happen is I'll say, look in your data booklet and find it yourself. But methanoate is COOH, so the acid would be COOH. So there's my parent acid. My parent base is going to be KOH, and then I'm going to end up with KCOOH and H2O. Okay, and then practice question 2 says, all the following would be described as typical of an acid except produces bubble when it reacts with calcium carbonate. That would be true because it's going to produce CO2. Conducts electricity. That's true of acids. Releases heat when it reacts with sodium hydroxide. That's true because neutralizations are always exothermic. Has a soapy feel. That might sound familiar, but that's characteristic of a base or a basic characteristic. So D would be the correct choice here.